Kia ora koutou, and welcome to the Great 3-Minute Board Games unboxing. This is also the first time Te Whare Kemu will appear on the channel, and that means in Te Reo Māori, the Games House, and that is the new place that will be the home of 3-Minute Board Games. Now I apologise in advance if the audio on this video is not great. There's not much point me being mic'd up because I'm going to be lifting boxes and throwing things around for the next hour or so. Probably longer. What I'm going to do is go through the massive pile of games that have been in storage and the ones brought from my house and try to put them up on the shelves and give you some commentary as we go through. I don't know what's in each of these boxes, so it's going to be a surprise to me as much as it is to you. Now we've also got a bunch of shelves, and each of those shelves is going to serve its own purpose. The first shelf is the Big Kallax. That's going to be the permanent collection. Any games going on there are ones that I plan to keep for a very long time. The shelf beside that will be the not quite so permanent collection. Games I really like, but I'd consider replacing them if something better came along. Then we have the small shelf here that's probably going to end up being stacked with my role-playing books and D&D stuff. Then we have the small converted DVD shelf that is going to end up being the home for small box games. And besides that, the big shelf will be the games I can't bring myself to part with. So this is games I've painted that I don't necessarily play anymore. Big campaign games that I will get to one day, I promise, and other games that I like, but I won't play that often, but I just have an emotional attachment to. Those will probably go on there. And then finally, we have the shelf that's built into the room that was here before we arrived, and that will be the Shelf of Opportunity. Games I haven't played, games that I plan to review for the channel. So without further delay, let's get on to the unboxing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put stuff up on the table, I'm going to unbox them, comment about them, put them on the shelves, but I'll probably fast forward me going through the shelf stuff. I don't think you need to see me walk around Potter and look confused for too long, so we'll blitz past that. So on to the first box. First box contains, it's actually quite a bunch of stuff, quite a bunch of good stuff too. So we've got Red Outpost, Ruins of Mars, Hostage Negotiator Crime Wave, new game from Warhammer, Bladeborn, that's definitely going on the Shelf of Opportunity, as is Terraforming Mars. This literally arrived, Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition, this literally arrived a day or two before we had to box up the house, so I haven't even looked at it. Been waiting for that one for ages, because it's been in retail in the US for a very long time, but it only just got over here to Aotearoa. Chai Tea for 2, Shelf of Opportunity. Horrified, permanent collection. Really dig that one. Thunderbirds, one of my all-time favorite games. That is definitely going on the permanent shelf. Umbravia, it's from the lovely people at Pandasaurus Games. It's another one that they sent this to me ages ago and I just haven't gotten to it. And I feel really guilty when I get sent games and I just can't get to them. And this year, because of all the stuff that's been happening with the baby and moving house and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot of games I haven't got to. Deep State being another one. Had that for a good, nearly a year now. And I just feel bad. I don't take games I don't intend to cover, so when I can't get to them because of life stuff, it just makes me feel a bit shit. Legendary Encounters, permanent collection. Still the only Legendary game I've got. I'll have more to say about Legendary later on, but I'm just going to go put these ones away and chop up this box. On to box 2. Another thing I'll do is I'll go around and show off all the shelves when they're all fully stacked, so you get the nice finishing moments of seeing how this is going to look like when it's all done. And we still have like other bits and bobs to come in as well. So open up. What do we got here? We've got this is the Rurik expansion and metal coins. Rurik's in a different box. I boxed that away before we moved. Oh, one of my prides and joys. Full set of Nemesis with all the trims. That's going on the permanent collection. Then we've got Subatomic by Genius Games and Genotype by Genius Games, and the new Dune Betrayal game, which is just coming out. So Shelf of Opportunity, Shelf of Opportunity, Shelf of OK, permanent collection, and that one I'll sort out later when Rurik turns up. And because I was really clever, none of the boxes have anything on them really other than board games. So, what's in the box? Okay, we've got Dice Hospital. This is a fun game. Not one I love, but it's solid, so that's going on the shelf of okay. Dimension. I picked this up for like 20 bucks. Still haven't played it. Shelf of opportunity. That's 20 bucks New Zealand, so that's basically 10 bucks US. Planet of the Apes, got it the same day as Dimension. Have played that one. It's actually a really reasonably good solo game. And quite thematic, so that's actually a keeper. It's going on the shelf of okay. And some of these games are big. This is Imperial Spells and Steam. I really dig this one. I'm not a big train fan guy. This is like one of the few train games I really dig. So that one's going on the permanent collection. And this is a box. It's got 4 games in it. This is going to take a while. Alright, on to the next one. What do we got here? We have Limbitu, which is a game, I can't even remember asking for this one, but when I did at the time, I remember vaguely thinking, oh, that sounds like something different, so that's going on the opportunity. Woo! Gaia Project, permanent collection. This is a great game. Anyone who says otherwise, well, you know, you're entitled to your opinion, but then we have all of my Dice Throne stuff that I got secondhand for not a lot. So I did all the Dice Throne reviews without a review copy. And I reached out to Roxley and they said, oh, we'd really like to meet you in person. And I'm like, there's a pandemic on. Are you high? But whoever it is behind it, Manny Tremblay or that crew. I was like, no, I'm not flying over to meet you. Pandemic, weird. Role player. I have a love-hate relationship with this game. It's good. The theme's really good, but I don't know. There's just something intensely unsatisfying about it. I feel I should like it a lot more than I do. Hero. This is another Wii game that got sent to me. I can't remember exactly who sent me this one, but that's going on the shelf of opportunity. Oh, another one of my favourites. We have Everdell, Collector's Edition. That's going in permanent collection. Dice Throne, by the way, is going on the shelf of okayness. It's a good game. I really like that I got it super cheap, but, you know, we don't play it a huge amount. I think we should play it more. Black Orchestra. Both Starling games side by side. Not a big fan of Starling games. Do actually like some of their games. So it's one of those sort of perplexing things. I hear the owner's a complete shitbag. And speaking of owners, Obsession, which has the exact opposite. The owner of this is an absolute lovely person. And this is also the game with the 3-minute board games. Gold medal on the back. So that's going in the permanent collection. It's also Steph's favourite game, and I really like it as well. It's a really neat game, Obsession, if you can get a copy of it. Small company, so it goes out of print all the damn time, especially with the hype that people like myself give for it. So, on to the boxing. Alright, on to the next one. We've got... okay, interesting. We've got Crypt Hunters from Warhammer, which I thought was a bit... so I'll probably get rid of that. So that'll go on... Oh yeah, I don't really have a shelf for things I need to get rid of. So it's probably going to be on that big black shelf as well. Same with Diachasm. I think Diachasm's good. It's just... It's not a game we're going to play a lot. They'll send me a copy of the next series when it comes out. Sentinels of the Multiverse. Game I've played physically like twice and on the app about 400 times. So I have a physical copy. It's a borrowed one, which I use for the review. This is one of those weird things. It's a game I absolutely love, but I just never play it on the table because the app version's really good and it's got all of the extras plus the cauldron. It's, yeah. Or the Origin of Species. This was okay. I may end up moving that one on. It didn't do a huge amount for me. Marvel Champions. Speaking of games that didn't do a lot for me, way bigger fan of the Arkham Horror LCG. This just felt like Arkham Horror's like dumb cousin, you know, the one that doesn't read a lot of books. Wasn't for me. Gonna be getting rid of this one, so that'll go on the shelf to get rid of. Spartacus. I'll probably give this one away to someone because I've got the original edition. I used this for a review recently. I was never planning on keeping it because the first edition's much the same, but I prefer the art from the TV show. Spartacus is still a really cool game, but that's probably going to go on the to be got rid of. And Theseus of Dark Orbit. I tried to like this. I tried to get into it. I just don't. I don't get it. Just this is not a me game. So that's going on the shelf to be got rid of at some point. So we'll make that the bottom of that shelf. Maybe the bottom. Make it the bottom of the really big shelf because I don't think I'll have that much on the shelf of opportunity. So we'll sort it out. Yeah, some of the boxes are bigger than others. Lots of stuff in this one. Let's see what we have. Okay. This is a very fancy version of backgammon that I got Steph for her birthday last year. Steph really likes backgammon. She'd always wanted a really fancy set, so that's what I got her. Ooh, it's Azul 2, another one of Steph's favourite games. And the original Azul. It's like a Steph box. Nope. Circadian's First Light's in here, which Steph really doesn't like. I like this one. These are all permanent collection. Pan Am, got that one on special. Still haven't gotten to it. Going on the shelf of opportunity. Although I feel like the buzz on that one has flown already. Random bits for the Aliens game. I'll figure out what to do with them. Playmat. It's playmat for Chai. This game looks absolutely lovely. It's one I would love to cover by the end of the year on the channel. It's going on the shelf of opportunity because it's one we're going to look at. There's like that, Merchant's Cove, Umbravia, and Ares, Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. Some of the games I really want to do coming up. Cytosis, which was my most recent review. Keeping that one. Gulliland Moons. I still think this is one of the best area control games ever made. It's just a shame it's kind of flown under a lot of people's radar. I think it's a really solid game. It's probably because it was partially buried by a guy who really likes this game, but you know, that's board game media for you. And we have one more game in the box. Oh my god, this is... I'm just gonna have to shake this off. Yeah, it's Anachrony. It's the Anachrony big box. Permanent collection. God, that thing's monstrous. What's in this? Oh, this is different. Okay. Oh. There's a little thing that's got all my... Oh, they've shuffled around a bit. Zombicide. Oh, this one might be easier to show you. And this one. So I have to figure out what to do with these. There's like all my different Zombicide figures, and it's in like these little display thingies, so you can just sort of bap them out on the table, which means that we also have Zombicide. I'm conflicted about Zombicide. Like, it's kind of busted and kind of a bullshit game, but we also really quite like it, so It's definitely staying in the collection. It might be a candidate for the shelf of games that we don't play a huge amount but have sentimental attachments to, especially since I painted the whole damn thing. Which is a Revolution. This is an okay deck building game. It's nothing to write home about, but it's different, it's light, it's reasonable solo. Arctic Scavengers, probably one of the most underrated deck building games out there. I actually like it because it's way more interactive than, say, Dominion is. First Martians. I actually legitimately like this game. I know lots of people hate it. I'm a sucker for Mars. I'm a sucker for desperate co-op survival. It's one I do play solo most of the time, so that probably makes it a lot more palatable, because I imagine playing it with a group would just be a right pain in the ass. Yeah, another Ignazi game. 55th State. This is a solid game. Really good little game. Much prefer it to the colonial version. And the weird sci-fi one that I really didn't like. Oh yeah, the Metallica game. It's actually Raxon. Let's see if I can light it up. There we go, Raxon. Pretty good solo game, terrible marketing campaign. If you've never heard about the Raxon marketing campaign, they basically marketed a game without telling anyone what it was going to be and was like, get in or else you'll miss out. And people were like, oh, we've got to get in because Dead of Winter was really hot. And then turned out it was like a weird little tile flipping co-op solo game, and so people were not happy. Fortress America. This is a real old school classic game from the 80s. This is a version that came out in the 2000s. This is like good Axis and Allies. Well, it's I think a better game than Axis and Allies, but it's in that wargaming style. And you get to invade America because they're about to put on their laser defense system and be able to nuke anyone they want. So it's quite cool. And finally, oh yes, it's one of my good boys. Oh, and it's been damaged. Ah! Oh, I'm gonna have to repair that. There's a bit of boxer damage on my very, very, very precious copy of Android. This is a game I love. It's not a game that gets a lot of play because it's a bit berserk, but I describe it quite frequently as a progressive rock album. You know, if Katana's a pop song, this is a hour-and-a-half long concept prog rock album of a board game. It's something really different, something really special. I really appreciate what Kevin Smith tried to do with it. And the setting it built's really cool. It's a neat game. It's just, it's got like about 15 different things going on, and it probably only needed to do like 4 or 5 of them. But, you know, it is what it is. It's a flawed masterpiece. All right, I'm going to put these ones away and then take a wee break to hydrate because it's actually hot as hell in this room. Alright, and we're back with the next box, which contains some interesting stuff. Oh, if you hear a weird little squeaky sound, that's one of my guinea pigs. They're living just over there until we get them some permanent housing. Ages of Smersh. Love this game. Back the new Kickstarter, so this is probably going to be got rid of if and when that one delivers, if it's any good. Godspeed, got this one second hand for cheap. Still haven't played it. Shelf of Opportunity. So Ages of Smersh is going on the shelf of probably getting rid of. King of Tokyo, going on the permanent collection. It's just one of those good games that lots of people like, and this is probably the best version of it. It's King of Tokyo Dark. Between Two Cities, with the expansion, permanent collection. Another one of those games that just a lot of people enjoy playing. And it's another Pizza Delivery, another one of those games I don't remember who sent me this. I'm really sorry. I will get to it at some point. Shelf of Opportunity. And then the rest of it in here is a classic example of a game that if I wasn't doing the channel, I would probably have played right through already. But just because of the demands of having to play so many games and review them, campaign games they're just a bit of a chore, and it is Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon. And because I'm an idiot, I also got the Red Death, and the last night. I have no idea when I'm going to get to these things. These are going to go on the big box of campaign games that I will get to eventually. Yeah, maybe I need someone else making my videos for me, or to do less videos so I can actually play some of these long games. But that's just what it is at the moment. I really enjoyed Tainted Grail. I would love to have gone further with it. But like Gloomhaven and a bunch of other games, there's only so much time. I like to play games like 5 times before I review them. So I got through quite a few scenarios in Tainted Grail, but there's way more than 5 games in these boxes. I'm going to put this one away now. One of the ironies about a game like Pizza Delivery is me constantly talking about it. There's probably more coverage than it's got on other mainstream channels. So you're constantly talking about not covering it, that is. At least the name's out there. Alright. Quacks Quedlinburg. Steph quite likes this one. I don't care for it. It's going to go on the shelf of okayness. The game most desperately in need of a retheme. Chinatown. Going on permanent collection until they retheme it with something slightly less Chinatown. Koleka. Permanent collection. I understand this is a complete bastard to get these days as well. Which sucks. Rurik. Dawn of Kiev. That's going on the permanent collection. I think this is like, I'm not familiar with this one. It's like, I think, a better Scythe. And I know a lot of people will go, ooh, a better Scythe. I just think it's a tighter design than Scythe. And covers all the same ground. It's a really good game, and the action selection system in it is absolutely genius. My original Spartacus. Permanent collection. A lot of good games in this box, actually. Empires of the Void 2. I really like this game. Gives me a lot of the 4X feel I get from a game of Twilight Imperium, but it does it in a sixth of the time. It's not as immersive and as in-depth and as grandiose as Twilight Imperium 4, but I can play 6 games of it in the time it takes me to play a game of Twilight Imperium 4 with the last couple of groups I've played with. 13.5 hours. It's like 4 hours of fun crammed into nearly 14. Sorry if I sound a little pissy, but long games aren't necessarily good games if a lot of the time you're just going banging your head on desk waiting for someone to make up a damn decision. Spy Club. This is solid. This is a good game. It's kind of cute, but it's like, it's just kind of hard to describe. It's like a little card collecting game, but it's got a story built into it, and it's very much kids' own adventures, kids on a bike, that sort of stuff. But really fun, really fun. Looking forward to playing that one with my kid when they're a little bit older. Flashpoint Fire Rescue. It's one of those games I feel like is almost essential in the collection. Good solid firefighting co-op. Again, play that one a lot more on the app than I do anywhere else. And Space Corp. The game at the moment that I'm most keen to get the expansion for, because after playing it lots I was like, man, this would be so much, this is a great game, but wow, wouldn't it be great with variable player powers? And that's exactly what they did, so permanent collection. Alright, on to the next one. Ooh! Alright, some of my faves in here. I haven't seen you in a while. Twilight Struggle, Paths of Glory. These are great games. Paths of Glory's really grown on me. It's such a good game. World War One. It's pretty high complexity and it takes quite a while, but it's one of those games that takes 6 to 8 hours, where it is 6 to 8 hours of fun. Agent the Consortium. What a fantastic game. Shout out to Trey Chambers for designing what's arguably the most fun worker placement game I've ever played. It's just so batshit crazy. I love it. Oh dear. It's not one of these big ones. So, I'm actually not a huge fan of deluxe versions. Like, I've got the Terraforming Mars one, I've got the Suburbia one, and I've got the Anachrony one. And those are for games that I really, really like. Like, those are games I really dig, so I went in and got the Collector's Edition. I'm seeing people buying Collector's Editions as sort of their entry point to a game, and I just think that's madness. Like, why would you buy the Terraforming Mars big box if you haven't played Terraforming Mars? Seems like a lot of money to find out you don't necessarily like a game. Permanent collection. Ugh. Question, should I get the new version of Sidereal Confluence? I really dig this game. I don't get to play it remotely as much as I want. But jeez, it's so cool. This is a genius game. Like, 4 to 9 players, real-time trading, total asymmetric economies. It's brilliant. Like, and I mean, Chinatown's kind of similar in a much simpler way, but this is just such a high energy, high vibe game. Really love it. It does require all the players to know what the hell they're doing. It can be really intimidating the first time you play it, but it's so good. Oh, and we've got Concordia, another game going in the permanent collection. I played Stella from Meeple Academy at this on a stream a couple of weeks ago and handily beat her, which I think, you know, I've only been on a handful of streams, but I'm doing pretty well. Like, I've won Zolkin and Concordia and a couple of other games, but yeah, I always feel like there's a little bit of cred. You have to kind of win when you're on the stream to keep up that true gamer cred. And I know that's bullshit, and I know I probably shouldn't be worried about that, but I really do just try to play well. And that's a bit of a paradox. Speaking of games that you need to play well to win, Dawn of the Zeds. Possibly the most unforgiving solo game in my collection. This is a permanent collection one. This is a fantastic game. It took me forever to get to grips with it because the rulebook is a beast. The game gets taught in like 4 different difficulty levels, and then there's a 5th difficulty level, which is just add the whole kitchen sink in. So many variable powers, so many different things that happen, and it's really unforgiving. But if you want a game that tells a story about zombies and a zombie attack and defending a town, it's really good. And we're on a zombie theme. Dead of Winter. I really like Dead of Winter. My group's less hot on it. They prefer Battlestar Galactica. Just because the subject matter in Dead of Winter can sometimes veer into the outright macabre, like, you know, zombie babies eating people and stuff. And for some of them, they're like, yeah, I'd rather just, you know, have Cylons and blowing stuff up. The Ancient World. A game I feel I should have liked more than I did. It's good. The art's great, and the game is good. These days, I'm not sure if good's good enough, but it's definitely not a bad game. Freedom the Underground Railroad. I'm not going to be too flippant about this one, but it's a very good cooperative game. It plays quite differently to anything else, and talks about pretty confronting subject matter. So that's going in the permanent. And then we have Steph's copy of Who's She that she backed, which we really got because we were planning on having a little one and having a version of Guess Who that's about women's achievements rather than how people look. Just seemed like just a nice thing to have, and it's beautiful. Like, just crack it open. You may not have seen it, but the display things are all done in wood, and you know, you ask things like, is she a scientist? And then you flip down the scientists instead. I mean, it's just Guess Who. It's just a really nice copy of Guess Who that isn't about looks. So that one's going in the permanent collection. Not because I think it's a stunning or amazing game. It's just, you know, something we got because we were planning on having a small person and we wanted that in their lives. On to the next one. Alright, on to this. what do we got? We have... interesting box. We've got Bethel Woods, one of Shem Phillips' early games before he did Raiders of the North Sea. It's a weird little game. It's Mansala movement, but it's actually a really good co-op or solo, like 2-player co-op or 2-hand solo. This War of Mine, Days of the Siege. I think this arrived after I'd boxed up this War of Mine, so that could be another one that needs to find a home. The Networks. Think this game. I really like the silly sense of humor in it. Last Will. I got this at a second-hand place or on a trade table after I'd played Underwater Cities, which I really like because it was the same designer. So shelf of opportunity because I really want to give that a go. Another game I picked up second-hand off a trade table, probably the same day even, at WellyCon last year. Sekigahara. Again, still haven't got to play that one, but I'm really interested in that particular game. Oh my! It's my old version of Pandemic I got back in like 2008 or whenever this came out. That's going on the old game shelf. Don't really play Pandemic that much. Just prefer Thunderbirds. Quarter Adventure. This is a crap game, but a fun experience. I really like it for what it is, which is a card-playing, room-throwing game that creates a character in a little bit. But it's not a deep game. Dream Home, something nice and simple. That's going on the OK game shelf because it's one we can play with people who aren't, very serious gamers. Simple rules, good mechanics, it's fine. Artemis Project. I nearly backed the sequel to this, but because we were moving house and everything was chaotic and I didn't know where my finances were going to be like, and I didn't know what our address was going to be, I kind of passed on it. So I really enjoyed Artemis Project. I think we gave it a gold medal. If it might have been on the cusp, I can't honestly remember. Going in the permanent collection. It's a really nice dice placement game. Above and Below. That's just a great game. It's probably still my favourite Ryan Lockett game. It's just neat. Combined story and worker placement. June. Should go on the permanent collections. Probably going to go on the games I don't get to play very often shelf because while I love it, while it's a classic, it is another one of those 6-hour odd games that you really need a committed group for, which is why I'm really looking forward to unboxing the new version of June, which I think is just called June, a game of betrayal and treachery, and see how that compares. So that's another one I want to get tested by the end of the year. Village, classic game, permanent collection. It's a neat game. Shut Up and Sit Down did a really good review on that one years ago, and that's the reason I've got it. Pay Dirt, another one of those games that pretty much only I ever speak highly of. It's because I like gold mining. One of my secret shames is watching Gold Rush. It's a neat game. I think it's been out of print forever, and it's you probably get it and go, oh yeah, that's okay. It's just some games that are okay or good to most people are really great to me, and that's one of them. And then finally, we have Scythe, which probably doesn't need much introduction, and the Wind Gambit. And of course, this is the obvious time to show off that, I painted my entire set of Scythe, including the ships. All my figures are painted. So even though I prefer Rurik, that one's not painted, Scythe is. This is staying in the permanent collection. Scythe's still a good game. When I was giving ups to Rurik, that wasn't to say Scythe was bad. Scythe is still a very good game, and I spent a lot of time painting my copy and making it look really neat. So definitely a keeper. Right, gonna put these ones away now. interesting box. We've got Legacy. This is actually an okay game. Who's it by? Michael Hendricks. Never heard of. Yeah, interesting game about royal families. Oh boy. Descent, first edition. This is a real good case study in games that, you know, we're on Descent 3rd edition. I'm not buying Descent 3rd edition. I may get sent a copy of Descent 3rd edition and review it, but I'm not buying my own one because I've got Descent first. I fully painted it. It just feels like I'm sure Descent 3 is a wonderful game, but at some point, you know, you've spent a couple of $100 on a first edition. You can still play the first edition. Yeah. And on that note, Game of Thrones first edition. This used to be my favourite game. I don't know if I'll ever play it again. So it's going in the shelf of memories. Oh, God. More Descent. Even more Descent. I've got 6 boxes of Descent first edition. So you can understand why I was pretty reluctant to get Descent second edition and why I'm very reluctant to get Descent 3rd edition. My experience with Arkham Horror 2nd edition, where I got all of that, and then didn't particularly like Eldritch Horror, and didn't particularly like Arkham Horror 3 either. So sometimes you just find the edition that works for you, and that's fine. You don't always need to buy the new hotness. This is cool, Expanse City. One of those games that sort of flew under the radar. Really neat little city builder, and you get to stack up these like big towers and stuff. This game I actually want to play more, so that's going in the not permanent collection, but it's got potential because I have enjoyed my plays of it. Permanent collection for Defenders of the Last Stand. This game's bullshit, but it's good bullshit. Like, it's like this weird hybrid of Pandemic and Arkham Horror with a Mad Max theme. It shouldn't work. It's probably broken as all heck, but I always have fun with it, so really good to see that back. And speaking of big games and stuff, Lords of Ragnarok is coming out. Well, I've got all Lords of Hellas, and I really like Lords of Hellas. And I just don't have no huge desire to get Lords of Ragnarok. Again, it just feels like I've got the game. Why would I want the game again? It's also why I don't have Zombicide Black Plague or wherever the hell else they went with Zombicide. I don't quite understand why you buy the same game multiple times. Like, you just go all in on it. So, we'll chuck these ones away. But Lords of Hellas, permanent collection. I do like the game. Maybe there's some improvements in Lords of Ragnarok. Maybe it's a better game. Maybe I'm not going to spend 400 New Zealand dollars on it. Spend All the Dice game, still haven't played. Alatia Painter Studio, it's okay. Civilization New Dawn, I've got the expansion for this, probably packed in another box because like This War of Mine, the expansion came while this game was in storage. This is actually seriously good. Not sure it's ready for the permanent collection yet. Definitely going on the good shelf, could migrate along. Food Chain Magnate, got the second hand. It's another one of those games that I really want to review for the channel because I think it would be a good video for the channel. But right now it goes on the shelf of opportunity. Roll for the Galaxy. Really like this game. The app is kind of killing my enjoyment for it. So I'm looking forward to playing this with some of the expansions because the app doesn't have it. But, you know, I'm kind of thrashing it on there. It's probably not good. Museum, great game. Neat set collection game, lovely theme. Oh. Hadrian's Wall and Raiders of Scythia. 2 locally designed games. So of course this one's Shem Phillips, this one's Bobby Hill. I used to work with Bobby at the Department of Conservation. He was a business analyst on a project where I was the change manager. So that's how small the Wellington board gaming community is. Pret-a-Porter. This is neat. Probably shouldn't be shaking it. Sounds like there's things loose in there. Oh my god, I'm going to have to go through all these boxes and check to see how many things are loose. Oh. That's more stuff for museum. Speaking of the Wellington board gaming community, we also have Endeavour Age of Sail, made by another local. So, you know, Hadrian's Wall, Raiders of Scythia, Endeavour Age of Sail. There's 3 good guys, 3 good games by 3 good guys from this town. So, yeah, it's probably better than most towns that aren't like, you know, New York or London or something. It's a pretty small place. There's only like a couple 100,000 people there. Dogs. This is fine. Cute theme. There's not much to it though. Oh, and we also have Viscounts and Architects in here as well. You all know I really like Architects and Paladins. Viscounts just doesn't work for me. Again, it's not a bad game or anything. It's just one of those games that my brain just doesn't hook into for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's the thing in the middle or how the movement around the side works, but I'm pretty good at all of the Garfield games except that one, where I just always come last. It just hasn't clicked. And finally, one of the most unique games out, Millennium Blades. I've missed this. This is just such a cool game. If you ever watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon or any of those sort of, well, principally Yu-Gi-Oh! A game, any of those sort of card animes, it's a game of playing in like a CCG tournament. It's really meta, it's really frantic, and it's just a neat game. And I'm not really into anime or Japanese animation or anything like that. I don't have a favorite anime. I barely have watched any, but it still works. Like the theme still works. It's a good time. All right, gonna put these ones away and then take another break because it's hot as hell in here. Well, the camera didn't like what was happening there. So yeah, Pursuit of Happiness. I might have to pop inside and see what happened with that video card, but Steph hates this one, so we're getting rid of it. Hitsy Road. I'll keep this for now. It's on the cusp. And one game that's been banished by our group, Citadels. Can create some of the most miserable gaming experiences possible. I'm just going to pause the camera and go check the video card to see that when it just shut down just before if anything weird happened, and I shall return. Alright, we're back. Not sure what the story was with the camera turning off, but all the files seem okay. Alright, we've got an overstacked box of Robinson Crusoe that has like expansion stuff in it. I really like Robinson Crusoe. Have to figure, yeah, it's gonna have to lie this one flat. But I also have this habit of storing games in the expansion box, not the original box. So I don't know why I do that. I just always have. Armada. So this is the Armada rules for Star Wars Armada. I've got buckets of figures over there as well. Oh. Mobile Team Manager, that's permanent collection. The out of print, never coming back. Real shame, good game. Whoa! My very old copy of Settlers of Catan before they decided to call it just Catan. Oh. High Frontier. Funny story behind this one. I also saw the rulebook lying separately in a box because I was reading it. A local guy who follows the channel got accidentally sent 4 copies, and they were like, well, we don't want you to send them back to the US because that's just going to cost us a lot of money. So he donated one to me, so that's going on the shelf of opportunity. I'm not sure if I'll review it because, you know, Phil Eklund's a bit of a guy I don't really want to give a huge amount of PR to. but I'm curious about the game mechanics, so it would be an educational thing rather than a review thing for the channel. Euphoria, Stone My Games. This is a cool game, just one that's never clicked in any of my groups. I want to keep it, but hardly anyone ever wants to play it with me. Police Precinct, that's a keeper. Oh, we've got some big ones in here. Space Hulk 3rd edition. All the painted figures are in that box that have the big broken models. We also have my fully painted copy of War of the Ring. Another classic, permanent game. And finally, Legends of a Drift System. Another great game. So there's some interesting mix of games in there. There's some things like the old copy of Settlers, which if I never play again would be too soon. High Frontier, which, you know, if I ever get to that, who knows. And then a bunch of games I really like War of the Ring, Space Hulk, and Robinson Crusoe. I'll put those ones away in a second. Little thing now, Clask. I don't really know if this counts as a board game, but Jesus, good. It's just a quality time. It's like air hockey but with magnets, and it's just quality. And then we've got this freaking monstrosity. So this is not a paid endorsement or anything, but the folks at Legendary at Upper Deck Games sent me this giant box full of tat and collateral, complete with a scroll, which they want you to read out. But the gist of it is they're doing a competition for people to win a trip to Gen Con next year, all expenses paid. Unfortunately, it's only for people in the US, which kind of sucks. But if you are in the US and you do want a trip to Gen Con, I'll put a link in the thing below on how to enter the competition. They seem to be like the most... I've never seen this for board gaming before. Like, I hear video game people get this kind of stuff all the time, but this is like the first time I've really come across it. You know, there's like a big Legendary Gamer hoodie and, you know, Legendary Gamer shirt, which I might put on for the rest of the video, and a few other bits and bobs in here. But yeah, they sent this all the way to New Zealand for me to promote the game, which is interesting because I'm not a huge fan of Legendary. I like Legendary Aliens, but I've kind of panned just about all the other games in the series. So yeah, interesting they sent it to me. I think if you are keen to win a trip to Gen Con, do check out the competition. Just note that it's only for people in the continental US, as far as I can tell from the disclaimer. But you basically just have to tell them why you're an awesome Legendary gamer. So yeah, I'm just going to put this one to one side and I'll sort through it later. And yeah, I might try the shirt on. Wow, I'm wearing a board game related shirt. I'm now a proper board game influencer or something. Alright, what do we got in this one? We have Playmat for Lawyer Up. So I assume Lawyer Up's in here somewhere. Santorini, this is top notch, permanent collection. Oh, some other great games. Crisis. One of those games that's flown under a lot of people's radar. Fantastic worker placement game. Probably the best implementation of semi-co-op I've ever seen. And on that note, Evangeles, which I've been on the fence about getting rid of, but it's it's good. It's just hardly anyone wants to play it. That's in the keep, maybe get rid of later. It's one of the games I was contemplating selling last time we went through and looked at this stuff, and I put it on the sale pile, and then afterwards I was like, yeah, no, I'll get that back. Amber Mines. This is not Amber Mines. This is in fact all of the busts and figurines from Relic, which I've painted. So I need to find a Relic box. So another one of these things I'm just going to put to one side. Rebellion, fully painted, fantastic game, one of my all-time faves, permanent collection without a doubt. Oh, and also fully painted. And again, my copies of Battlestar Galactica are in the last two expansion boxes instead of the original box. And I think the original reason for that was the original box got really badly damaged, so maybe that's why I started doing it. Psychic Saga, another one of those games I got sent that I can't remember asking for. That one's going on the shelf of opportunity. Lawyer Up, which is a game I backed on Kickstarter because I really liked the idea of it. Two-player game, it's about court cases. I also got the expansions for that. That's going on. Probably going to put it on the shelf of opportunity. I have played it once, but it does need a few more plays. And It's a Wonderful World, one of my favourite little engine building games. That's going in the permanent collection. For me, this is like what I hope the Ares Corporation game ends up being, like a lighter, faster engine builder than Terraforming Mars, so something you can play in 45 minutes as opposed to 2 and a bit hours. And it's really good for that. Like, probably the game I've got that crams the most decisions into the shortest amount of time. So, permanent collection, I'll put these ones away. Alrighty. Oh, it's an interesting box. This looks like stuff that I was keeping until the last moment to ship. Block by block, permanent collection, 3rd edition coming out soon. Keen on that. Gizmos. It's on the cusp of the permanent collection. I do like it. I do prefer Potion Explosion. Junk Art. This is so good. It's definitely a permanent game. It's just such a good time. I'm not a big fan of dexterity games until I got Junk Art, and I was like, wow, dexterity games are fun. Stronghold. Stronghold Undead. I quite like Stronghold. I backed Stronghold Undead. That's not a review copy. That's one I got for myself. So curious to see how that works out. And All the Centuries. They're going to go on. While I really like Golem Edition, the other two are still in my to be played. So I only just picked those up. Oh wow, I've got some other interesting stuff in here. This game is so good. Brass Birmingham. That's definitely a keeper. Alright, another one I backed. Intrepid. This is like that movie Gravity. Astronauts trying to survive in space when all shit hits the fan. It's another sort of a co-op game. Haven't played this yet. The Kickstarter arrived about a week or two before we were about to move, so that's going on the shelf of opportunity. Along with Fired Up. This is a game I did ask for a review copy. They reached out to me and asked me if I wanted one, and I just like the sound of it. It's just something different. It's like a battle royale gladiatorial game, but you're not actually the gladiators. You're the people betting on them, and you're trying to influence the outcome. And I just thought that was a neat take on the dudes fighting in an arena. So instead of Spartacus where you control them, in this you're more like the fans cheering them on or giving them boosts, and then betting on the outcome. So I think it'd have quite a good table play, and I think it's going to be a game my group will enjoy. I got this on sale, not at a stupidly low price, but a good price. I played the original Kalis when it came out, didn't think much of it, gonna give the new one a go. And Healthy Heart Hospital, one of my favourite solo games. I hope this gets a new edition. It's got this cool bag manipulation mechanic that I just dig. And, oh, one last thing. God, these boxes are so big. Let's just dump this one to the side. Terraforming Mars big box, permanent connection, you better believe it. I'm really happy I got that. And we played with a friend of mine's copy of that, and there were a whole bunch of missing cards. I was like, and there's all these cards missing in your version. And what I'd kind of forgotten is that my friend Fraser had, for my birthday a couple of years ago, given me the promo packs that are available on BGG, which are a bunch of extra corporations and a few extra cards. So yeah, that was nice, and it just reminded me that it was such a thoughtful gift, because I personally never would have thought to just, buy a small pack of cards and have it shipped from the US. It just seems like a a bit of an expense, but you know, what a nice friend I have. It's also one of the rare times someone's actually bought me a board game gift that's something I A, hadn't thought of, and B, really liked. Normally people go, oh, we'll get you a board game thing, and I'm like, okay. And, you know, it's like a Trump-themed card game or something awful. But that was a really considerate gift. So thank you, Fraser, again. Sometimes when you're moving house, random things end up in random boxes. There's all my triangular coins from both Jia and Empires of the Void. I put them into one container because, you know, they're very similar coins. And it's good when you're playing both games to have an excess amount. Hanami, another excellent small box game. But not good small box game. So these are all going on the small box shelf. Burgle Bros. I still haven't got around to playing this. It got shipped to me when I did Sabotage. So that's going on the shelf of opportunity. Steph's copy of Bananagrams. High Society Mintworks, both good small box games. Tiny Epic Galaxies, I played these once a little while ago. They need to go back on the shelf of opportunity. Yeah, I backed Exploding Kittens. It's a terrible game, but I like the art and it's something light. Speaking of games that were on Kickstarter, Unbroken! If you don't know the saga behind this, I'm not going to go into it now. Needless to say, this was a review copy I signed up for like just after I started the channel, so I got to be in on all the Kickstarter comments, and whew, what a campaign. Box of Keyforge I got for very little because it was an old set. Just again, this is another one of those games I probably won't cover for a while because of the problems with Keyforge at the moment, which is that the algorithm for making cards has apparently been hijacked and they can't use it anymore, so they're rebuilding it from scratch. But mechanically, I just wanted to have a look at it from purely from a game designer point of view. Star Realms, great small box game. Sushi-Go, another great small box game. Set, it's a good family set game. It's like a version of Snap, really. Marrying Mr. Darcy, one of Steph's favourites, and yeah, random team. Sometimes Games Workshop sends me the weirdest stuff, like an extra team pack for Blood Bowl, which is great, but I don't have the figures for them, so yeah. Guess that's free to a subscriber who is in New Zealand that I can send to. I'll just put this on the shelf of stuff to get rid of. Yeah, I sent this note to Games Workshop saying I really only do the board games, but they just keep sending me non-board game stuff. So I've done what I can. I can't cover all their stuff. And I'll really just keep covering the board games as and when they ship them to me. But if they send me big packs of models, like, I asked you not to. So what am I going to do? Okay, this is not board games again. This is more terrain. I airbrush this stuff as well, so these bits are all painted by me. Just put that to one side. So I've got enough for like a full wargaming table, which is pretty cool. Like densely packed. So we'll just make sure we grab another one. I have a small box. And this is more small box games, as expected. Solar Storm, pretty good. Total Monstrosities, failed Kickstarter. Actually, for a ridiculous game about ridiculous Pokemon clones, it's actually quite solid. Solar Storm playmat. I'm conflicted on this. It's a small box game with a big playmat. Dark Overlord, silly party game. Dustopia, it's okay. Dust placement game. Flipology and Horde, both local games, both pretty good for what they are. Like a lot of these small box games, we have them because they are games you can play with people who aren't the kind of people who are going to play Gaia Project. You can play Horde with kids, you can play Horde with your parents. You might not necessarily be able to play the Gaia Project, Mage Knight, or Star Wars Rebellion with those people. Time Zone trivia game. New Zealand trivia too. Cogs. This is one of those little games that, I think the Kickstarter had like 200 backers. It's really good. Good little puzzle. It's about placing cogs to create pathways in different colours, and it works. It just works really well. Mint Delivery, Monty Python Flux and Lord of the Flies, Cthulhu 500. Wow, there's some dank stuff in here. This is all of the Grave Robbers from Outer Space stuff that Steph had before we were a couple, so that was some of her things. Project Dreamscape from the same people who made Oaxaca. Deep Space D6, this is a pretty good solo game. Bunch of random playing card decks. Copy of Pit, the old school bluffing game, and finally the Cursed Earth, which I wanted to like a lot more than I did. It's okay, but I'm a sucker for Judge Dredd. I have lots of Judge Dredd comics, and I just found it a little bit sad. Well, not a little bit sad. It's not like it's a bad game or anything. It just didn't really do it for me. So most of this is going to go up on the small box shelf. Alright, what we got here is Relic, which is mindless fun. That is kind of a permanent collection game because it's one game me and my friends play when no one else really wants to be thinking about playing something serious. So, Paladins, I still think overall the best Garfield Games game. I slightly think Circadians is better solo, but it's a real toss-up. Pandemic the Cure. I unironically like this way more than Pandemic or Pandemic Legacy. Each of the characters is really unique. Dice Forge, neat little game. Build your own dice. Forbidden Sky. There were like 5 copies of this in a discount bin, and I picked one up real cheap. Still haven't got to play it. Shelf of opportunity. Oh, here's a saga. One Quest Cursed City. The figures in this look lovely, like they're beautiful. But this game was cursed. It was already out of print when my review copy arrived. I looked around for information and it just wasn't even on sale on the GW site. It's like it came and went in a heartbeat, and yeah, it was just weird. I've never been given a game that was like, okay, we want you to hype up this game, and then there's no one to hype it to because no one can buy it. Yeah, odd story. Odd story. Not really sure what's going on. Oh, and I watched a couple of other reviews of Cursed City as well, and yeah, consensus was that it wasn't particularly good anyway. So this is one of those ones where do I keep it and paint it because it's got beautiful figures in it? Do I just flick it on to someone? Yeah, really not sure what to do with this one. Or do I just give it a play and see if it's like anywhere near as bad as people seem to make it out to be? But The perils of having a relationship with Games Workshop, eh? This box isn't actually board games, it's all D&D 3.5. Considering how much I've been enjoying D&D 5, I guess I'm just going to have to find someone to buy those. Like, it's a lot. It's a big box full of D&D books. Now, I was talking about the weirdness of having a relationship with Games Workshop, but there are some pros. I'm really looking forward to giving this one a go. It's kind of like their take on X-Wing, fighter combat, and they sent me a bunch of extra fighter models as well. That's exactly the kind of game from Games Workshop that I'm really interested in covering, because it's a self-contained board game, and it's like things I play. They've also sent me Doomsday Countdown and Fire Team, which are also self-contained board games. Again, those two I think might be limited availability, which sucks, but they're closer to what I cover on the channel. Potion Explosion, permanent collection. Love that one. Alright, here we go. Pride and Joy, Spirit Island, and Jagged Earth. Absolutely permanent collection. Love those games. Good to see them survive the move. Underwater Cities. The hits keep coming. Permanent collection game. Love it. Alright. Trois. Reviewed this one recently. It's okay. It's going in the games that are okay, but I might not keep forever shelf. And I potentially might get rid of it. Yokohama, one game that is absolutely going to climb up my top 100 this year. What a great game! Just an absolute joy. It's different. It feels different. Yet it's a worker placement engine building type game, and it's neato. All right. 2 minutes to midnight. Manhattan Project 2. I got this because I liked Manhattan Project Energy Empire a lot, and I heard that the original Manhattan Project was a bit screwy, and that this is closer to Energy Empire. Well, it takes lessons learned from Energy Empire and the first game and sort of combines them into a better one. That's going on the to-play shelf. Jaws. Steph and I have played a couple of games of this. It's really neat. We really need to do a review of it. I'll put that on the shelf of opportunity because we still need to play it a couple more times and it's been a while. And then one last game. This is one I would like to cover either later this year or early next year, and that's Merchant's Cove with the expansion. And this is crazy. This game is mental. It's... You know how Root, you've got asymmetric factions and the gameplay is quite different. This is that for worker placement. So each of the shop owners in the game has totally different mechanics, and it's just a bit full on. So it's either going to be an absolutely transcendent and amazing experience or a complete and utter mess. And I'm really looking to find out which one of those two things it is. So definitely going to see this one, if not this year, early next year. It's probably one I'm going to have to play with quite a few groups a couple of times because it's complex. It's also going to be a bastard to cover in the 3-minute format because each of the factions does, each of the different player powers does something different. So, yeah, looking forward to that one. Putting these ones away now. Oh, we got some old ones. Ancients. Okay. The original Civilization. Old game shelf. Gamma Orders. Old game shelf. Hannibal. Still have to get around to playing that. Space Cadets. That's permanent shelf. Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion, that's going on the campaign shelf. We played it a fair bit. That's all my Gloomhaven monsters I've put into a separate clicky box, along with our Gloomhaven campaign map, which, you know, we got like 20 something missions into it. You know, we've unlocked multiple characters, but we're just probably not going to go back to it anytime soon. Martians: A Story of Civilization. This is one of those underrated games that I really like that no one else seems to. I don't know whether underrated is the right term. I rate them. Very few people else do. Is what it is. Oh! There's War of Mine, which can go with the expansion. That's going on the permanent shelf. XCOM, permanent shelf. Fully painted as well. Whistle Stop. Got this in a math trade 2 years ago. Still haven't played it. Shelf of Opportunity. Last Friday, permanent collection. Still my favourite hidden movement game. And I'm conflicted about this one. Smash Up. It's one of those games when it first came out I thought was really, really good. And then the more I've played it, the more people have kind of gone, this is actually more complex than it needed to be. Like, a lot of the mechanics are a little OTT. And a big game takes way longer than it should. It's probably best at maybe 3 or 4. Yeah, and I've got a bunch of stuff for it. So, yeah, I've got the big geeky box. I got probably the first 4 or 5 expansions before it started getting... Well, no, it was already over. Like, the last couple I probably shouldn't have got, but, you know, that's board gaming. That's going to go on the shelf of games I'm probably not going to play that much. This is random bits and bobs like poker chips and pens and GM screen and all that good stuff that you need in a games room that aren't really games. So I'll just chuck that one to one side. Alright, this is a lot of new stuff, newish stuff. So Steampunk Rally Fusion, I'm going to put that on the shelf of opportunity, even though I've played Steampunk Rally a lot, because we haven't played much with the add-on. I backed that one. I'm really keen to see how it goes. Pipeline, another game I got on sale. Shelf of opportunity, I got that one again. Big discount. A lot of the time I buy games heavily discounted because I figure that's probably the best time to. For me, you don't have to buy a game when it comes out. You can pick them up later. Santa Monica, same deal. Shelf of opportunity. This is a giant orc miniature that I'm never going to assemble. Tyrants of the Underdark, really good game. Enjoyed that. That's going to... tempted to put that in the permanent collection. But for now it'll go the shelf over from that. And here we have the new June Light, which is going to be one of the next games covered on the channel. So going to be one of the first games we test in this spot. So looking forward to that. So yeah, it's an expensive model too. Okay, this is a weird grab bag. So we have a copy of Shelfie Stacker and a copy of Shelfie Stacker and a copy of Shelfie Stacker. Very kind people at Arcus Games sent me in multiple copies. One's the prototype, the other two are like production copies. So I'll probably bin the prototype and yeah, give away one of the copies to someone. This is a stack of Magic the Gathering cards. I have no idea what I'm going to do with that yet. That was for the Magic the Gathering video. They had like a $5 filler box with Magic, and I'm like, okay, that's cheap content. Ice Cool. Shelf of Okayness. How old Star Wars Monopoly. You can't have a You can't have a board game collection without a copy of Monopoly, it seems. Pandemic Legacy. We tried. We gave up. Turns out Legacy games are not for us. Le Havre, great game. Permanent collection. Warlock of Firetop Mountain. I don't even think I have the rulebook for this one anymore, so... Again, I can't bring myself to throw that out. We've got the Aliens Glorious Revolution game, which feels like all the contents have shifted around quite a bit. Oh, I'll have to sort that out. We'll just put that to one side and I'll do a proper sort out of that later. That's a good game though. The most insidious game I've ever stolen. I mean, borrowed from work and never returned. So, long ago I worked as a mortgage broker, and we used to use this game, Cash Flow, to teach people about the wonders of property investment. And when I left that job, I forgot that I still had a copy of Cash Flow. It's kind of propaganda in a box. It's kind of awful. I should just sell it to someone, but I don't know what to do with it. War of the Ring Battles of the Third Age, one of the worst expansions for any game ever. There were like 4 good things to the main game, but the 2 side battles were just awful. And Freedom 5. So this is a game that I would like to hype up. The Kickstarter I think is Kickstarter's well and truly closed. I begged for a demo version of it to give it a go because it's a combination of Sentinels of the Multiverse and Defenders of the Last Stand, which is a game I absolutely love. So I was like, wow, Defenders of the Last Stand, but Sentinels? Count me in. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's exactly my sort of game. It's a bit chaotic, it's cooperative, there's lots of screwy powers and weird tricks you can pull. I'm really looking forward to the final version when it finally comes out. So I'm going to keep the prototype until I get my hands on a proper copy of it, because I've set it up a couple of times since getting it, and I've enjoyed each play. So the problem is the prototype being a prototype's only the first scenario and the first villain. So yeah, it's like a teaser. It's just a little bit of the game, but yeah, really keen to see that final game come out. It can't be too far away now. It's probably sometime early next year. Then again, all the Kickstarter problems, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah. And thanks to Ella from Ella Loves Board Games for arranging that for me. Thank you, Ella. We'll put that one in... I'll just find somewhere to put it. I've got no idea. Alright, just checked a couple of the boxes down there, and there's a few marked LCGs and CCGs. I'm not going to unbox those today because I have no idea what I'm going to do with them. I probably need another cupboard or something to put those in. I've got some cupboards on that side of the room that you can't see. They'll probably end up living in there. Also, things like... This is my stack of sleeves. That needs a home. That isn't the shelves. Alright. Azul Stained Glass of Sintra. Our least favourite Azul. Probably going out. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. It's Forbidden Island. The boxes come off. Stuff's gone everywhere. I'll sort that out later. Barrage. So that's the Barrage expansion and Barrage proper. Permanent collection. Pretty good game. That's more stuff for Aliens. Somehow they ended up in 3 separate boxes. I've no idea how. Actual Descent, first edition. So, the reason I'm not getting rid of this, pretty obvious, and that is lots and lots and lots of painted models. I painted the whole set. Yeah. And still today, even though we don't play Descent very often, very handy for D&D and other games. Oh, conflicting feelings here. We have The Reckoners, which is going in the permanent collection. I really enjoyed this. It's a really cool co-op. And then we have two games I really didn't like. Mothership, pretty much free to a good home. This is terrible. And Britannia, which was probably the game I've played that I felt I had the least actual control over what was happening in a game. It just felt like the whole thing happened on a script, and that's no fun. It's just no fun at all. And Evil Corp. It's a little overwrought for what it is. I think if you're into Munchkin and that style of gameplay, it's a better Munchkin. It's just not my jam, so probably going to get rid of that one. Alrighty, Mansion Madness First Edition. I can't bring myself to part with it. I like Second Edition, but First Edition has like its own little quirks, its own little foibles, and plus I use a lot of the stuff from First Edition in my Second Edition copy, so there's not much point getting rid of it. Fisher and Paykel 50th Anniversary Game. If anyone knows the backstory to that, it's a game I got a company in New Zealand made for their staff and paid me to do a video for their intranet, and turned out to be an actually pretty okay game. Bees! Small box game. Okay. Deus. Shelf of Opportunity. This one crushes me. Near and far. I've wanted to play this since I got it like nearly 5 years ago, and I just haven't got to it. And maybe not 5 years, maybe 2.5. I just don't know when I'll get time to do campaign games, and it looks fun, it looks good. And it's the same reason I probably won't do Sleeping Gods anytime soon. They just take too much time when you're doing reviews. Nations. Probably not permanent collection, probably good game collection. Still think it's better than Through the Ages though. I know that's a controversial opinion. Scorpius Freighter, one I got on special, Shelf of Opportunity. And Tricarion, collector's set. I've reviewed this one. It's probably going in the permanent collection. It's another one of those games that doesn't hit the table a huge amount because of its complexity, and it's a complete bastard to teach. But it's a very good game, and it's a very interesting and involved game. And if you're one of those people who likes complex, interconnected games, if you got this and you got the terms of it, you get hundreds of hours of plays out of it. And finally, Quantum, which I believe is out of print, and I picked up a copy secondhand. I got that in a math trade, so that'll go on Shelf Opportunity. Like many games, I've played it once, but it was so long ago I can barely remember how it works. I know different dice do different things for different ship sizes, but that's about the extent of it. Yeah, next one. This is my custom box I got made and airbrushed my own picture of Jupiter on for Leaving Earth. Permanent collection. Yeah, my friend Thomas made this for me, and then I got to paint it, so that's fun. Small World, Underworld, and a bunch more Small World stuff. Secondary shelf. Red Dragon Inn, same deal. Noctiluca. This is a good mind burner. Another Shem Phillips game. One that's not Garfield though. Good little puzzle. Oh, we've got some serious ones in here now. A Distant Plane. The game that inspired me to make Red Dust Rebellion. Still the only coin game I personally own. We also have Comancheria, which is a rather heavy game about the Comanche Empire, which is a really fascinating topic, and Churchill, which is a 3-player negotiation game about the Second World War. Those are all permanent collection games. They're definitely keepers. And then, oh yes, we have one of my all-time faves, Arkham Horror Second Edition. That's the entirety of Arkham Horror Second Edition compressed into those boxes. That's definitely a keeper. And finally in here we have my original print of Chaos in the Old World before they put it in a stupid box with the Hornbrand expansion. That's also painted. I really want to give that one a go again, especially with Warhammer Total War Warhammer Total War 3 coming out, which is all Chaos themed. Yeah, I just feel like it hitting the table again. Is a pillow. Oh, this is some interesting. Oh wow, this is early drafts of Red Dust Rebellion. Early set of it. That's pretty cool. Oh, this is all my board game design stuff. So this is, yep, that's a game I can't talk about. And this one is a game I made, a prototype about running a manhunt for a serial killer in the 60s to 80s. That's all, yeah, that's all books and game design stuff. So, and some Warhammer 40k models and stuff. That can just be chucked to one side. Alright, on to this one, which is, yeah, some random crap. Okay. What of this can I show you? Gunshot Clever. Small box games. This is another one of my board game designs. This one, take the logo off, that's in here. I signed a deal with the publisher to get that one made. So you'll hear more about that next year. But I can't say much about that now. Space Base, Good Game Shelf, Captain's Dead, Permanent Collection, Renegade, tried, failed, didn't like that one. This is my original Monster Cup for Arkham Horror. And it's still got all the monsters in it. So I'll add that to the top of a shelf somewhere. And finally we have Catacombs, which I really should review at some point, but it's really hard to do because it's, yeah, it's hard to do dexterity games with stop motion. But it's a really cool game. Like, it's just what if Dungeons and Dragons but flicking. I also got some other weird stuff in here. Like, this is a bag full of maps that I used for Imperial Assault when we were running narrative stories, and it's just 24 of these maps that are double-sided for different locations, and we just, you know, ran games using those. It's a good resource for anyone running a Star Wars role-playing game, which I've been known to do from time to time. And finally, Fruit Picking, which is a small box game. Alright, we're down to the last 3 boxes, bar the CCGs and LCGs, which I'll do at a different time. Well, I probably won't film, but I'll just unpack them at a different time. And a stack of games that I've left in Steph's car. Her and Anne are currently out visiting friends, so I can't get to them, but there are a bunch of big games that I didn't box up because they were too big to really go in their own boxes. Ooh, this is an interesting box. Parks. Good game. Need to review that at some point. Villages and Streets, those are both keepers. Modern Art, absolute keeper, as is the Manhattan Project. Energy Empire. Manhattan Project Energy Empire. Betrayal of Baldur's Gate. I'm on the fence with the Betrayal games. They're daffy, they're kind of silly, but, you know. I'll keep it for a while, but I'll probably eventually move that one on. Then we have Dark Moon. My group loves Battlestar Galactica. I picked this up on special. We still haven't got to play it, so that's going on the Shelf of Opportunity. We also have Funfair, which I've reviewed, as well as Unfair. And I was borrowing a friend's copy of Unfair, so I'm going to give him the copy of Funfair as a sort of thank you for letting me borrow Unfair for once. So these are going down in the get rid of shelf, but it's really just to return them to someone else. Oh, what else we got? A couple more things in here. Ooh, that needs to be sorted out. So this is another game borrowed off the same people that needs to go back for the Queen. We've got Nemo's War, that's permanent collection, great solo game. Meadow, I wanted to love you, but I really didn't. So you're going in the to get rid of pile. And then finally we've got the playmat for Hostage Negotiator, which of course I packed separately to Hostage Negotiator, and Bristol 1350, which I'm going to put on the Shelf of Opportunity to give a go later. And I'm going to box these ones up and then come back to you. So Steph got back with the car keys, so I actually have the big box games that I was talking about before. And of course that includes the likes of Gloomhaven, which will go on the permanent thingy, Imperial Assault, Mansions of Madness, Cthulhu Wars, Twilight Imperium 3rd Edition, Horus Heresy, and Axis and Allies. These are all big beasts. They're going to have to go up on the big beast shelf, and we are rapidly running out of space. As weird as it sounds, I may need another shelf. Oh, and a couple of more things that were in the car were the first big map I did for Red Dust Rebellion that a friend of mine, Dan, helped. Well, he did the old actual graphic design stuff. And the second map for Red Dust Rebellion. We've changed the game considerably since that point, but, you know, fun prototypes. Oh, and the sector map from our super long Star Wars campaign that used Imperial Assault, X-Wing and Armada. So, yeah, those are good things I'm going to keep. Possibly put up on the wall. Right, we have, I think, 2 boxes left. And the first one is this Anachrony box, which I'm pretty sure doesn't have Anachrony in it. No, it does not. It has Black Angel, a game I really do want to play and give it a go. Shelf of Opportunity. Oh boy. In a moment of weakness, I brought Feudum secondhand for a pretty reasonable price. If you've seen the instructional video for this, you know the idea of doing a 3-minute video on it would be ridiculous. So that's a maybe. Then we've got 2 other little games. Strike, which I backed on Kickstarter, which is a pandemic-like co-op. It's fine. It's cool theme. Mechanically, it's okay. And Enigma, which is a game I've got to get to at some point about the Enigma code. And then finally we have the new Age of Sigmar box. Again, like, I'm probably not going to cover this one. It's not really a board game as such. It's like the Warhammer Age of Sigmar rules. So, I don't know, maybe I should do a Warhammer or an Age of Sigmar in about 3 minutes. Maybe a Warhammer 40,000 in about 3 minutes. But they're just kind of, they're on the outskirts of what I would consider a board game. I mean, they're still tabletop games, and I do cover things that don't have boards, but miniature wargaming is a little bit of a different hobby. And yeah, I'm not sure I'm the right channel to do it. Alright, we'll put these ones away. some nice ones to finish off. So, Takanoko, super cute game. Probably not getting rid of that, you know, especially with a kid. Abyss, another good keeper. Great game. Doctor Who Time of Daleks, I recently got the add-ons for this. It's okay. I think it probably should have been a full co-op instead of a semi-co-op like it is. But I'm a big Doctor Who fan, have been since I was a kid. Grew up watching Peter Davison, Tom Baker, John Pertwee. Those three doctors were really my doctors. So yeah, it's a nostalgia game, not much else. Flourish. I got sent this after the Kickstarter for a game that was on Kickstarter. I'm not sure if it's even out yet. And then finally, Maximum Apocalypse, which I backed. So that's all of Maximum Apocalypse, which is a keeper. And yeah, I think that's that. We're going to try rearranging the shelves, seeing if everything fits. And I'll take a quick tour around the shelves once I've done that. And then this will be before I set up like the miniatures and other things, because I'm just going to pop off camera because I have to grab something to show you. But things like this, you know, stacks of miniatures as well that need to find a home. So the board games will be sorted today. The LCGs, the miniatures, the terrain, everything else that will still need to find a home. But we are predominantly a board game channel, and getting the board games where they belong so I can start testing again, that's our first and foremost priority. So, gonna put these ones away and then we'll have a look at the final results. Okay, so we've got everything set up. This is the Shelf of Opportunity, although I've put Access Now's Anniversary to Monopoly on top. And what we're doing here, these are all the games that I would like to play in the future. The ones facing forward are the ones that I want to get on the test table next. So when people come around, they can see the ones that are facing forward. At the very bottom are the games that I'm planning on getting rid of. So here we go, sweep back up. Whole bunch of stuff to work on there. And we're going to step to the shelf of sort of memories. So these are games that I'm either have great difficulty covering on the channel, they're too old, or they're just games that are campaign games that I want to play again, but aren't going to play anytime soon. So, you know, Twilight Imperium 3, Gloomhaven, Tainted Grail, Zombicide, the Aliens game that I did one campaign through. Yeah, not games I'm going to get to anytime soon. Then we have the small box shelf, which has worked out really quite well. So there's all the very small games, and yeah, goes right the way down. Anything small I've just kind of jammed in there. I've taken a couple of the planks out so some things can face forward, but you know, it's a good little small box game shelf. Around here, this is where I'm going to put my RPG D&D books. I've just put a couple of games on the top, the big oversized ones. You know, some of these oversized games are really good as display pieces, so I'm just going to keep that one out. Onto the shelf of semi-permanents. The games at the top, like Barrage and Imperial, are two games I'm going to keep. I'm just putting them like that because they're cool display bits. And down. Then we have this shelf, which is not a shelf of... I'm going to keep some of these games, games I would have in a permanent collection, but they're all the Shem boxes, because that shelf is the perfect size for Garfield game Shem boxes. So that's why they're there. They're in one big group. So moving on down. And then finally to the bottom where you see some things like Small World, Betrayal at Baldur's Gate. Yeah, so those are the good but not necessarily great games, plus the Garfield collection. Then we're on to the main permanent collection. I put collector's games on top, just because they're big boxes and it's a nice display piece. And then down, and the top shelf is pretty much my top shelf games for the most part, although in some cases there's things that I've just kind of crammed in there. And then we just pan all the way down. Some games like Nemesis, the reason they're facing forward like that is it's the two big boxes and the other boxes behind it. So, and then all the way down, got a couple of spaces left, and yeah. And we'll just do one big sweep back around. I can't actually step back far enough to get everything in frame, but that's a good start. So yeah, turning this around. So yeah, that was pretty much a full afternoon's work. I started about 12 o'clock, took a fair few breaks. A lot of what you'll see is incredibly sped up, but it's in. We have a games room now. I just need to start getting the table set up, which will be over there between the shelves. And then I need to start setting up a table for doing photography and for doing stuff for the channel. But hopefully you had a bit of fun going through and unboxing this silly amount of games. I really don't recommend getting this many games. Like, it's a lot to manage, and when you move house, it's a complete nightmare. An awful lot of these are because I run a review channel. If I didn't, I would probably have half as many games as I do. I would probably just have the ones on my permanent shelf. I probably wouldn't have any of the others. I didn't have this many games when I started doing the channel. I had about 100, 120. It's ballooned since then because you got to keep doing content, and games turn up, you got to play them, put them out on the channel. That's kind of the gig. And then I'm just really bad at moving them on because I'm like, oh, that was good. I might enjoy that again later. And you know, if you've got 100 games and you play 2 games every week, you can get through all your games in a year. If you've got 400, it's going to take you every 4 years. So, you know, there is a point where there are too many games in a collection, and I'm rapidly approaching that point. Like, it's somewhat unmanageable, and if I wasn't doing this, you know, on YouTube in order to review them, this would be a totally excessive amount of stuff. And well, hopefully there's some people downstream who pick up the games that I wasn't particularly keen on and get them at bargain prices off me, and some of them I'll just give away to people because that's what we do. So thanks for tuning in, and until next time, take care all. Oh yeah, and if you enjoyed this video, hit the notification button, subscribe to the channel, come support us on Patreon.